So, welcome to this wonderful episode, sir. Good to have you here. So, we are in a generation where a lot of persons, especially young persons, think proactivity is all about being busy, getting one thing done or the other. And I feel this is a misconception. What would you say proactive or being proactive is really?
So thank you. In a very memorable way, you want to remember this. You need to ask yourself three level of question. The first will be, what could happen next? This helps you to create a sense of anticipation. And then you ask yourself the second $1 million question. What can I do to prevent problem? It helps you to prepare for what is to come. And then thirdly, you need to ask the last question. How can I make things better than it is expected? That helps you to add value. So being proactive is the mindset that helps you to plan, in fact, to anticipate, to plan, and to add value. You cannot be driving a proactive mindset and be waiting to be reminded. Proactive people will always take action rather than waiting to be reminded. Now, proactive people would always plan ahead as against waiting for problem to put them under pressure. Proactive people are never under pressure because they plan deliberately. As we continue to unfold the conversation, I'm so strong that we will begin to see segment by segment how this mindset need to shift as we journey. Thank you.
Speaking about planning, if we gather about 10 persons in this room, out of the 10 persons, we might find only two who actually sit down to plan. So it seems we have a fire brigade approach to life. Why is it like that?
So naturally, the human mind loves comfort. People like comfort zone. People want to stay within the bounds of what is not discomforting. But ultimately, development cannot happen without disruption. So if we want to stay within a comfort zone, we cannot disrupt and we cannot grow. The second element you will see is that urgency seems to grab the attention of people who are not proactive. So when something is urgent, they give it attention. But then giving attention when things are urgent does not necessarily make you a purposeful person. You don't need to be reactive. You need to plan deliberately. So people are reactive naturally by nature. The third element, people delay action. You can also tag that as procrastination. Reactive people want to be pushed to get something done. They needed a reminder to get it done. They needed someone to put them on their toes to get things done. A proactive person does not react to plan. One of the elements you will see, reactive people will always think there will be another time to get it done. Meanwhile, every time wasted, you can't buy back. In fact, with our current generation of AI, people who will be able to take giant stride are those who don't wait, who take quick action. You don't spend time planning. You perfect the planning while doing. That's a proactive person. And currently, what you see, the paradigm are people who feel there is more time, and time is running out. You don't wait for pressure. You create purpose. Yeah. So that makes you proactive.
All right. So what would be the number one thing that you would, or the number one habit you would need to build, right, on a daily mood, where, okay, every day I have to do this in order for me to be proactive? Because I know this is a journey. Definitely, one do not get proactive in a day. So what are the day-to-day habits that you have to build, or number one day-to-day habit you have to build on a daily basis?
Okay, so for me, I would say that you need to start by breaking the big task into smaller units, into fragments. Motivations don't come to get a job done. When you begin to get the job done, the motivation catch up with you. So you don't wait to be motivated. You act to be motivated. Motivation meets you as you're getting things done. So you break things into smaller pieces, and then you begin to take a bite of each of it. At least what you've broken today, you don't need to break again tomorrow. Now, the second will be for you to have the smaller units taken care of in a day-to-day, in 5 to 10 minutes. So meaning you don't need a lot of time to invest into it. You can deliberately decide to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to commit to a small portion of the task. So you're building a progression, right? Then you will need to remember that when you act, the strength to take the next action will come, as against waiting for motivation before you take your first step. So I will just say, ultimately, you start small and then you continue to build the momentum as you keep rising.
Let's talk about how deep not being proactive has eaten into the system. Because a lot of time when you are recruiting people for jobs or for tasks, one of the things you would want to find out is how much the person is aware of the responsibility that the person would have to do. So sometimes you would have to spell out what tasks they'll be doing day to day. Sometimes over a month, you would have to spell out those tasks. And part of the things you're trying to look out for is to see how this person would approach the tasks. But many times, what plays out is that the people you employ and bring into the workspace to get things done, they are not even aware of the things they're supposed to do, even though you've spelled it out. I mean, what I mean by being aware is it's not somewhere in them. I mean, the process now to get something done. Okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what I have to do, or this is what I have to put in place for those things to work. And that's you mentioned the three things, the three questions that have to be answered for you to be proactive. And one of them is, what do I need? Right. So it's becoming something that is of concern, because every time and every now and then we produce people out of school, but when we push them to the workspace or to the labor market, the so-called, we don't see the level of energy or the level of the level of commitments that they are supposed to give to work. Apart from even workspace, the normal day-to-day achievement, personal achievement. Someone would say, I want to start something, or I want to start a business by June, right? And then you've done June, July, you've done August, you've not still started. And sometimes when you ask, they tell you, I want to start a business. It's obvious that they know what they want to do, but they have not just started doing it. Now, it shows that in 5-10 years to come, we might have just a little chunk of people who would actually be moving things or be shaping even the culture or be shaping the future that we have been hearing about. And that shows that not being proactive has actually eaten up to our eating deep into our systems, eating deep into what we are supposed to be doing or what our lives are supposed to, look like on a personal level, on a career level, and even on a national level, and then globally. What I'm driving at is for us to just look deep into how bad things have become by not being proactive.
So, for someone who needs to transition out of that, I will come to how bad it could get. To transition out of that, we need to focus on starting, not finishing. You can't commence, and not push towards finishing. So we talked about motivation.
Yes.
Motivation would come when you're getting the job done. So when you start, the motivation to push forward keeps building up, right? It's a momentum that keeps building. Now, within the context of the workspace, what I would expect an agency to do, and we have what is called the probationary period. The probationary period will start for many organizations the first 3 months or to 6 months of the new recruits, wherein you are evaluating you're starting with setting performance target, trying to say, okay, this is the next 90 days work plan. So you're saying you're planning the work for the next 90 days with the new hire. And then you're looking at his JD, his job description, vis-a-vis the priority of the agency. And you're together with him fashioning out what is the agreeable work plan. So this work plan or performance plan captures the key areas of this new employee to focus on, with the aim to see if this person will sit well within the structure or sit well within the office setup or be able to perform. Within this period, if you are not seeing indices of performance, then there is liberty to say, sorry, we can't proceed. Or if you sense there is a potential, you increase the probationary period to 6 months with the intention that this person will pick up, learn the agency, because everything is new. You need to learn the agency, learn the way things are done, learn the policies, learn the required tools, and all of this to get job done, more systematically. So when you have set that kind of priority with people, it helps them to be accountable. You're holding them accountable as an organization, and they're also holding themselves accountable because they sign to it and you sign to it. And then they understand the implication of not delivering results. So it helps them to be motivated, to have a push when you know there are things you have to account for. I believe that strongly we need to build a culture of accountability where we hold people accountable for things that are their responsibility. So, as against sitting back
And expecting
that things just happen. We need to learn to hold people responsible. These are where we have supervisor's role will include checking up. How is this person doing? What is it that needs to be done that is not yet done? putting the priority in check continually. Now, a proactive employee will then be the one who is able to plan how to get this thing done daily, weekly, and is prioritizing tasks. While for some, you will need to do a lot of reminder, a lot of push, a lot of this, because that the achievement of the supervisor is depending on the input of the supervisee. So there is none of us will perform well. If you are not performing, I will not perform. And so your performances adds up to what my performance is. So I know it's a strategy. So if you're not performing, I can't register a performance. So what we require to do then is I hold you accountable, I support you, I provide you the tools. What are you doing well? What do you need to do well? What support do you need to do better? So this level of conversations, help us to have a more productive and more motivated people. We need to put indices that force or guide, I think that's a better word, guide individual to proactive planning, as against being reactive to circumstances. No, you should already know what you need to do tomorrow by today. Right? I think we will get there in no distant time. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning, the culture of a proactive person is to begin to sit and think, what do I need to do for today? Before laying hold of the phone, before going to the bathroom, if you need to go to the bathroom to be more set, please go and come back. But the first thing as you wake up is you're highlighting the key areas you need to, accomplish for the day. After you have listed all of those things out, you have already conquered the day by heart. Then throughout the day, you find out, you put them in the order of importance. What is urgent? What is important? Many people spend their lives on what is urgent. If you always spend your life in planning for or reacting to what is urgent, you are not proactive. Being proactive is the ability to transition from what is urgent to beginning to think about what is important, what is purposeful, so you have the time to plan for them, as against waking up to what is urgent that we need to do. And so you spend every time spent on what is urgent is a pressure moment, and if you're not careful, you will burn out. It leads to burnout.
But we're talking about really, really taking time to plan. It's becoming very clear that even systems that we think do not encourage being proactive are actually encouraging it subtly. And let me just make that clear. When you start a new semester as a student, there's something called course outline that the lecturer gives. And then that would mean that every student who are enrolling for that particular course will know what they will be learning about for the whole semester. So a proactive student would actually go back and go and read through, or at least make some little research here and there, and then come back to class and come learn. Even the secondary school education, they do something they call scheme of work, right? And that would mean that every student who had written the scheme of work down at one point or the other would know what the teachers will be coming to teach them per subject. So subtly, our educational system actually promotes these things, but it looks like we are not so keen on them. Because, every person out there must have passed through primary school or a secondary school, and even passed through university system. So what is the issue? Because these things are not translating to our day-to-day life.
This is because, you see, success in itself is first of all a personal decision. When an individual has not decided to succeed, there is no scheme of work that can make you succeed. There is no magic. And that is why you have to become a proactive person. One of the things that set us apart in school is that before the lecturer comes to the hall, many of us might have gone through the entire schedule for the semester, and then we are only waiting for the lecturer to come and let's compare notes. So when you meet that kind of student, you help the lecturer to be ready, not to approach your class carelessly, because he knows these guys would have studied. And so you can propel or compel your teachers to be more serious by the quality of questions you're asking, interaction. When that mental spasm that is coming out, if they don't feel it, they will take you for granted. I've had a lot of such confrontation, as a student. This is because it's a lot easier when you can challenge paradigm. You see people coming to read out notes for you in the class. Give me the note. Let me just go and
complete and let me be done.
Let me just go and read the note. Yeah. So, and the quality could keep dropping if there are no people who could rise to destabilize that, distort that paradigm, and then create a new shift. People can be very comfortable in their comfort zone. These are the areas we need to strengthen. One of the most important things is learn to plan ahead. Don't wait for things to come against you and you react to them. No. Plan ahead so that you can respond to things, not react to them. Two expressions. Response and reactions are two different things. Many people are more reactive than they are responsive. Responsive is a language of ownership. When you own it, you respond to it. When you react to it, it means you're not ready and it caught you unaware. So, working under pressure is not a good way of working. Life is too short. Of course, we understand there are times when there will be clear timelines, deadlines that need to be obeyed. But listen, that is why you need to start early, knowing what, as a supply chain expert, I can tell you, knowing what will come in the process helps you to determine when you start. Starting early so you're not under pressure of timeline or deadline. This makes you purposeful. The other thing is prioritizing what is important. If you don't, many times when you have set of tasks to do, don't go for what is the cheapest on that task list. No, go for the hardest task. That makes you more productive. And if you go to an agency, don't spend time with the junior team member. They won't make decisions. Go for the highest person who could make the decision. So you save your time, wasting of time with people who could not take decision. They waste your time and they are unable to reach a decision because their decisions need to go through validations and processes and hierarchy. So why do that?
That's a lot.
Spend the time with the highest decision maker so you save a lot of the bottlenecks as you make. And it takes deliberate planning to arrive there. You see, you must learn to keep a simple checklist. And I'm not saying you are working to just tick a checklist, but I'm saying a checklist provides some kind of framework to see what are my priorities for today. So if I am giving you more priorities than is on your list, then we need to sit down as your supervisor saying, okay, let's review what you have and then shuffle what is the priority for the day. That is okay. But you should have a working priority. So if I'm telling you, sorry, I'm unable to do this, I'll be able to tell you, I'm not doing I'm unable to do this because now I'm committed to this. Do you want me to downgrade the priority for this over this?
Yeah.
That becomes a strategic decision. And of course, we can be flexible, but not planless,
Yes.
right? Finally, you need to review your progress. What makes that you have grown is that you review your progress at the end of the day. In fact, never sleep without taking the conscious thought to review again how your day went. What did I do today? What did I achieve? When were we driving in? I was just recounting with you. Oh, what did we? Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're able to do this. We did this. We did this. We did it. It's a day review, so that when you finish reviewing the day and you just feel, oh, I achieved, that sense of accomplishment gives you the strength. And then whatever you could not achieve for the day, you turn it into what is required to be done tomorrow. That is being planful and purposeful.
So
Yeah?
what would you say about a good reporting system and being proactive? For example, in a workplace, how do you think a good reporting system, maybe a weekly reporting system, how do you think that would help employees to be proactive?
So basically, you should have a system that does daily collaboration, meaning that within the day, if there are challenges, you can be able to, without waiting for the week to end, we can fix what the issue is. As issues are rising that needs collaboration, we need to quickly plan it, call for quick meeting. Can I have your 5 minutes? He responds, yeah, that's fine. We set up a quick 5 minute, 10 minute, 15-minute call, and then we are fixing issues. So at the end of the week, it is for the purposes of documenting. That's what reports you do.
Yes.
Report is able to now document that this is the track record of how we covered the week.
Okay.
We achieved this, we achieved this, we achieved this, we achieved this. Now we sense there is challenges here, there is challenges here, there is challenges here. Now we need support from management here, support from management here, support here to be able to tackle these challenges. Or these challenges are there, but they don't require management support. But it's good management is aware that we are confronted with these challenges. People are not productive when they sit on information. Many times, management depends on information to make decisions. The information has to be timely, the information has to be relevant, and the information has to be purposeful. So they're able to look at it, analyze, and then take decisions. And so, timely sharing of information, weekly reports is beautiful. Daily collaboration is very important. Weekly reports serve for documenting. Of course, you have bi-weekly check to see the progress of how we are moving things. And then, of course, a monthly reporting. Just to recap.
That's very insightful. Let's move away from employee-employer and let's even enter into relationship. How can I be proactive in my relationship, whether a romantic relationship or a very normal relationship? Because it looks like there are a lot of expectations that's supposed to be met, but they are going unmet. And sometimes part of the things you would hear the other person or the other hand saying, sometimes they say it verbally or through body languages. You should have thought about this. Or, you should have thought about this. You didn't see this coming. Right? So how do I become proactive? Because sometimes it's easier to say, okay, myself, I'm going to get everything I need to do, get them done. But when you have someone else in the picture who has a total different background from yours, total different upbringing from yours, how do you manage the relationship and be proactive in such situation?
So the magic for relationship is communication, mastering the act of communication. Communicate when things are good, communicate when things are not good. In fact, maturity or emotional intelligence will require that you are able to have conversation, those difficult conversations when things are even hard. So being proactive will mean as the challenges are showing forth, you're bringing it on the table so that no one is saying to you later, oh, you should have noticed this, you should have done this. No, when you bring issues to the table, take the opinion of both. And then when you put them side by side, figure out among these options we have, what is a superior intelligence that can be adopted for solving the problem. So conversation is necessary. And then, of course, you need to define the relationship. What is this relationship producing? What is the end goal of the relationship? I do not think that relationships should start without the end in mind. That changes everything. It changes the timeline you give to things. For once, I do not believe that, relationship between a brother and a sister should take so long. I don't believe in that thing. So, knowing how long you want that to last and what is the end, you can never know someone complete because you are courting and never. It's not possible. In fact, there is a level of submission a woman should not give to a man until they are married. So the more you stay, you didn't give that level of commitment that is required for that level of submission. Why demanding for it? Why should a lady go to a guy's house and be washing clothes? What for? You need a cleaner, a laundry. Take it to the
washing
laundry.
machine.
Buy a washing machine.
Yeah.
If it's, you can't be going. See, listen to me, ladies. You cannot be giving a guy the things that are preserved for people who are married, and then you expect him to take decisions quick. No, he will never decide. And then when he begins to now put you on a rationality with others, he will now feel that other ladies are more responsible than you for the things he cajole you to even get into. So define the relationship, put a timeline to it. And then, of course, you now begin to allocate resources based on the things that are priority for the two in relationship.
So, well, if you are a lady, if you're a guy here and you have someone already, it's important that you define relationship. That would even help you to define what level of commitment you would give to the person in question. I want us to talk about this because a lot of time people think proactive or being proactive would also mean avoiding dangers or avoiding things getting bad or getting worse. There's a part of the scripture that says a prudent man foresees danger and then takes cover. Right? So when I am proactive, it definitely I would come across things that I would want to avoid. And sometimes part of those things would be avoiding unnecessary attention or things that would serve as distraction. And we actually live in a generation where almost everything around you, if you're not discerning, are actually distractions. Some things they look very legit. They look like things you must do. But at the end of the day, when you look more in-depthly, you would see that they're actually distractions. So how do a young person who is trying to sort out life, how do I identify distractions and be able to avoid them or take cover from distractions?
I would choose to be a young man who actually sees danger and avoid it. And like we said, that comes with careful planning. That comes with being proactive. Being proactive puts your antennas at alert. Like you have foresight. You can see far. You have insight. You can see depth. You have hindsight. You can see things that are not necessarily in your front. They are not against you, but they have effect. So being proactive activates your senses to discern. So meaning you are now environmentally aware. I love to use the word, you have understanding of the milieu surrounding you. That awareness changes everything. Knowing the people that surround you, knowing the environment that surrounds you, knowing the risk around you, those helps you to take a proper assessment. And with assessment, you are able to know, okay, all the level of risk, then you will decide this risk,
I take this.
I'm willing to take. This risk, I'm willing to avoid. This risk, I'm willing to transfer. So when you have risk, it's either you embrace it when you feel, yeah, I can conquer this and I can get that output, or I want to avoid it. No, I'm not getting to it. Or I want to transfer that risk to a third party. This is why people do insurance.
Oh, beautiful.
Insurance is a way of transferring risk. You see, there are people also who do consultancy. Consultancy is also a way of transferring risk. You're simply saying, I don't have the time for this. Let's transfer this responsibility to someone else and pay him to do it. So we have more time. Not everything needs your time. So if you will do everything by yourself, you will not be productive. There are people in the workspace whose job, they are paid not to think. They are paid to approve. Someone whose responsibility is to approve signs anything and should actually not be held responsible for what he signs that may be wrong. And I'm not saying leaders should not review. There are people within the agency whose responsibility is to check that there are no errors before they pass it for signature. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So you have those you can call internal control. In the banks, you have the recourse, the control. In other agencies, you have the quality assurance, quality control. In others, they call it auditors, people who check and balance what is within the scale. So as an approving authority, I'm not paid to review. I'm paid to approve. So the people who are paid to review need to do the thorough review and pass it to me on the ground that all is well for you to sign. Then I sign. I sign, not necessarily need to read everything. I just need to read, who are we awarding? What is the value? What is this? Is it my threshold? This is. You sign. On the ground that people that need to do the job had done it. But of course, you need to ask questions when you are in doubt. So that helps us to be more productive. That helps us to transfer risk. You know, when you know that the people whose job is to find fault have checked the document and they pass to you, you approve. But I see paradigms where people who should check have checked, and then it comes people who should approve are questioning. You know,
that would be that.
Yeah.
That would mean really that the systems are not working.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is. So speaking about finances, we need finance to do life. We need money to run our day-to-day activity. In fact, they will say any soup that is sweet, it's money that kills it. So that would bring me to say money is very important in our day-to-day activity. But I want to ask, how do I become proactive in my financial life? Because most of the emergencies people have or people claim to have, by the time you sit back and you check it and you're like, this is not an emergency. This should have showed you a red signal somewhere, and then we should have fixed it up. But I mean, a lot of persons say it's an emergency. How do I become proactive in my financial life?
So let me start by saying emergency should actually means people are going to die. The lives of people are being threatened. If actions are not taken, people will lose lives. They will lose livelihood. That is what an emergency. Emergency is a life-threatening situation. So people usually use emergency within a wrong context. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So now, when people have financial challenges, in their mind, they want to succeed, but there is no plan for that success. That's the paradigm you see with the younger generation. They want present luxury at the detriment of future. So, which will mean if you do not pay attention to the future in your current planning, you don't expect a future. Future is not magic. Future is what is planned. And I'm not saying everything in the future rests on your plan. No, many times there are things that will come which are opportunities you never planned for.
Yeah.
But because you are positioned your mind to recognize opportunity, you are able to lay hold of it. So you cannot be thinking about a future that you are not investing for. One of the things that makes a difference for some of us, we spend most of our monies more on books and we read them.
That's very important because a lot of persons buy book and
You
don't
can
read.
buy the books and they are just
and
in the
don't read
shelf.
them. Yeah, that's true.
You buy the books and you read them. They shape your mind. Beyond reading, read every book with an action point. So you need to pick a book on finance, pick and be able to live. The goal of reading that book should mean I should be able to invest after now. You can't have all the money you need all the time, but you can plan towards a liberty in your finances. It's possible. But you cannot be telling me you have financial challenges and then you are doing nothing about what it should be. In fact, let me say this. One of the biggest model you can study is the Jewish wealth mentality model. A Jewish man does not spend his income. The income are under obligation to give birth until the birth, that's to make profit, replicate, until what that income give birth to had also given birth to another income. They don't eat their earning. They don't eat the second generation. They love to spend on the third generation. That would mean you need to delay gratification. What you have earned as salary should not actually be spent without it being a portion being invested. In fact, one of the things that one sign that you're a poor man is when your next month's pay does not meet the previous month in your bounds, then you're poor. So poverty is not lack of money. Poverty is the mentality to steward resources. So if you earn, let investment be part of you as much as expenditure runs through your. And I love the analogy the richest man in Babylon gave.
Yeah.
And he was given to say, you pay to the cobbler guy, you pay to the market person, you pay everyone. The only person you're wicked to is yourself. And the only reward you can give to yourself is to actually invest. And when we say invest, we don't necessarily mean you have gathered so much money to invest. With the current age, you're even able to invest things like 5,000, 10,000. It's possible. So what is happening to you is that a mentality for wealth is being built as you take a portion aside for investment. The consistency in doing that will shape your financial reality. So you cannot be thinking about transitioning into from a lack financially without an investment plan.
So what would be your advice when one is investing, or what are the red flags I should look for in any investment opportunity that I find?
Okay. So if the interest is too good to be true, you know it's a Ponzi scheme. When you are investing, there are indices. You need to ask yourself, do you know what they are dealing with? Do they have a product? Do they have a service? What is the product and the ideology driving the agency you're investing into? Very important. If what they are doing cannot be verified, it's a scam. You need to check, you conduct due diligence. That will require unveiling even their corporate identity. Unmask the name of the agency. Who are the people behind it? What is their integrity traits? You need to do that corporate finding. That due diligence is required. Find out who are the owners of the agency, what is the negative report about them on the internet, what is the business address where they are doing business. With these online things, people now don't care about where your address is. They just deal with. No, you need to figure out, where are these people based? What are they dealing with? Where is their address? When you cannot figure out these things, how do they operate? What are the incorporation documents they have? Is government aware of them? Are they compliant with taxation? Do they pay taxes to government? When you cannot trace this tax document, due diligence information, background check, if you cannot verify this, in fact, you go as far as reference check. Who are 3 people that can give feedback about these people based on their dealings? If you cannot unveil these things, calm down. Now, there are safer investments across everywhere that you may decide to choose as an option. And listen to me, every man that is duped as a result of his greed. Yeah. No one can scam you in areas you are not so desirous about. So your vulnerability is within the bounds of the things you love so much. If you love a computer then your antennas for evaluation is down when something has to do with a computer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are potential for red flags we need to look out for. Due diligence, we need to check what is the public information about these people, what is negative information, what are they compliant with taxation, are they compliant with government incorporations, what are the relevant bodies they belong to. All of these level of administrative documents you need to review. What reference check do you have to do? What are people saying about this? Never ignore any red flag. Of course, red flag does not mean something wrong is happening. But red flag means, hey, take caution and double check to be sure that you're safe.
So my last question to you, or I would say, give an advice to a young person out there about life and about how to go through life proactively.
Okay, so let me say this. You don't go far without mentorship.
That's very important.
You don't go far without coaching. The areas of your life where you are struggling, you need a mentor in that area to guide you through. The areas of your life where you need improvement, you need a coach in that area. You must understand that life is not lived accidentally. You don't need to wait to make your own mistakes. Be guided out of mistakes. Don't wait for your own experiences that could be hurtful. Learn from others' mistakes. And then build a solid foundation based on informed decision, not emotion. So if you don't live rationally this way, you will make multiple mistakes and you may not survive every mistake to learn from.
So seek mentorship. I think there's a portion of the scripture that says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Now, okay, beautiful. It is multitude of counsel, not advice.
So they are different.
There's difference between advice and counsel.
That's interesting.
People many times, instead of focusing on asking for mentorship, they are asking for advice. I will show you how it works. If I need to buy a tablet, I need an IT person to advise me on what model, what brand, what specification I should look out for, depending on perhaps budget. So advice are required for this level of procurement of things, but counsel is required to go through life. Life decisions requires counsel. Who do I marry is not advice that is required. It's counsel that is required. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
What shall I invest into? You need counsel, not advice. If you have seen the likes of kings in scripture, kings who made lasting impact, they have positions that is reserved for counselors. The likes of David had Ahithophel. It's not only Ahithophel. Ahithophel is one of the many counselors of David. Without the counsel of Ahithophel and his cabinet, David does not go for war because the war strategies were defined by the counsel of Ahithophel and the cabinet that gives counsel. So that's why those kings will win victory upon victory and victory. So you will sense the fear that glittered the heart of David when he recalled that his son Absalom now had Ahithophel in his cabinet. And then he began to pray a very sincere prayer. Father, turn the counsel of Ahithophel to foolishness. Because when Ahithophel has given you counsel, it is as though God has advised you. You will look at Moses. Moses' father-in-law came to watch Moses one day handling over 3 million people. He will sit in one place and judge them, sit as judge over their matter from morning till night. This man just knew Moses would die soon, and my daughter will be a widow. Then he said, my son-in-law, come sit down. He said, see, appoint captains over 50s, 100s, this. When they have small matter, let these ones deal with. When they have big matter that they cannot resolve, let that come to you.
Yeah.
That is a counsel. When a counsel is given, you don't negotiate execution. Are you with me?
Yeah.
But when you give me an advice to buy this, I may decide to. So people treat counsels as advice, so they fail. Counsel actually stands as instruction because it's what God is instructing for your path at that material season. So in the multitude of counsel, there is safety.
I think we will take out one episode and talk about mentorship more in-depthly, because it's part of the things that is lacking. And you would see the clear difference between someone who is with a mentor and someone who is not with a mentor. But sometimes arrogance is one of the major blindfolds that young people have these days. But thank you so much. This has been a very insightful and a very informative session with you. Thank you so very much. And for everyone who is watching this right now, thank you so very much for staying up till this time. All I need you to do is to share this video with someone you love so much and you care about, and do well to like and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you so very much. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.